The hardest part of elite bodybuilding is not lifting weights. It's eating when you don't want to eat. It's chewing when you're not hungry, swallowing when your stomach says stop, and repeating that process every 2 to 3 hours for years. Most fans think champions are built in the gym. But at the highest level, muscle is built in kitchens, coolers, and airport terminals. And this is where the story gets uncomfortable. Because the diet that helped build one of the greatest physiques in bodybuilding history also turned food into a full-time job. But to understand how eating became work, we need to go back. Before the titles, before the championships, before the stage lights, there was a young athlete learning a simple lesson. Muscle requires fuel. In the early professional years, high-volume eating was not optional. It was required to compete against athletes carrying extreme muscle mass. But here's what most people misunderstand. Eating more food sounds easy, until it becomes scheduled. Early in his career, eating shifted from hunger-driven to schedule-driven. Meals were no longer flexible, they were timed. And this small change would shape everything. Because once meals become scheduled, life starts to orbit around food. Training sessions are scheduled around meals. Travel plans revolve around meals. Sleep adjusts to meals. And this is where the first hidden reality appears. Eating stops being spontaneous. It becomes structured. But structure has a cost. And the cost compounds over time. Winning changes pressure. It doesn't remove it. It multiplies it. When success arrives, expectations rise. Consistency becomes the real challenge. And this is where dieting becomes more precise. Not just calories, timing, macronutrients, meal frequency. During peak competitive years, daily intake was typically estimated around 5,000, 7,000 plus calories, divided into 6-8 meals per day. That number matters, but the routine matters more. Because calories can be increased, but repetition must be maintained. And repetition is where difficulty begins. At the highest level, eating becomes a system. Morning meals, pre-training meals, post-training meals, evening meals, late meals. The day becomes segmented into eating windows. And this is where the psychology shifts. Food stops being reward. Food becomes responsibility. And responsibility must be fulfilled whether hunger exists or not. This creates a new challenge most people never consider. Eating without appetite, not occasionally, daily. And this is where curiosity turns into discomfort, because the body does not naturally crave thousands of calories every day, but the sport demands it. Variety sounds appealing, but consistency wins competitions. Meals become repetitive because repetition allows control. Protein intake is estimated around 300-400 grams daily. Carbohydrates often reaching 500-1,000 grams depending on the training phase. These numbers fluctuate across seasons and preparation cycles, but the structure remains consistent. And consistency creates monotony. The same foods, the same schedule, the same routine, day after day, week after week, year after year. This is the part rarely discussed, because monotony doesn't look dramatic, but it shapes daily life. Travel becomes logistics, airports require coolers, trips require planning, meals must be carried, stored, reheated. The schedule cannot pause. And this is where the lifestyle becomes visible. Every outing is planned around food timing. Every delay becomes a scheduling problem. And this is where eating fully becomes work. Not emotionally dramatic, but logistically demanding. And the longer the career lasts, the more repetition compounds. Winning doesn't reduce discipline, it raises the standard. Maintaining elite condition requires long-term consistency. Year after year of repeating the same system. This is the hidden cost of staying at the top. Because motivation fluctuates, but routine must not. And this creates a new psychological reality. Discipline replaces motivation, routine replaces spontaneity, and identity becomes tied to consistency. The real challenge was not a single extreme diet phase. It was repeating the system for years. Daily meal planning, daily preparation, daily execution. This is where the long-term perspective appears. Because long careers are built on sustainability, and sustainability requires structure. But structure can also create fatigue, not dramatic burnout, but gradual mental fatigue from repetition. And this is where perspective begins to shift. Years of structured eating create long-term habits. Routine becomes second nature. Meal timing becomes instinctive. But the biggest shift happens mentally. Food becomes fuel first. Enjoyment second. And this mindset is rarely reversed overnight. Because habits built over years do not disappear instantly. They evolve. What happens when the schedule loosens? What happens when meals are no longer mandatory? This transition is rarely discussed. Because the public sees competition, not the lifestyle changes after. And this is where the story becomes reflective. Post-competition life introduces flexibility. The routine relaxes, meal timing becomes less rigid, dieting becomes more balanced. But the lessons remain. Discipline, consistency, structure. These traits do not disappear after competition. They carry forward into business, content, and public life. And this is the final transformation. The system built for competition becomes a system for life. The story was never about food, it was about consistency. The discipline to repeat simple actions daily, the patience to follow routine for years, the mindset to prioritize long-term goals. Because success at the highest level is rarely dramatic, it's repetitive. And sometimes the hardest part is not lifting weights. It's eating when you don't want to eat, again and again and again.